This is Earl Amin with the 2020 Foresight Podcast, where CEOs of small to global companies share their insights. It is 6 questions in 9 minutes because top CEOs know how to listen and be concise. So let's get to it. So tell us in just a few sentences who you are and what you do.
I am Kenya McKnight, President and CEO of the Black Women's Wealth Alliance, and I provide cultural wealth literacy and financial tools to Black women to build generational Black wealth.
Very interesting. Well, tell me, what's the best thing about being the CEO of your company?
I get to set the sails, if you will, the direction. I get to operate from my core interests. I get to determine my narrative, my strategies, of course, which is informed by our base, but I get to ultimately set what our focus is and how we proceed in our work and determine, our impact, the measures, and how we operate.
All right. Okay. Well, I hear from other CEOs that leading their team and being able to see the road ahead can be a challenge. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's true. I think, especially in this market today, it is difficult at times. The climate I'm in the world of nonprofits and the work that I do is generally led from a nonprofit frame. And so it's not highly usual for for-profit leaders to be in social impact community space as I am. And sometimes that makes my profitability look a little uncertain as I'm competing with, ideally in their minds, I'm competing with nonprofit and government leaders who want to do the work that we do or think that their work is similar, one. And two, I'm competing against I wouldn't say really competing, but at times it does feels like that with the social justice climate of action. So finding workforce that is focused on business, economic solutions, sometimes is not, they want to get into social justice, and I get it, but it isn't the lens we work through per se in terms of political action, although we can do some advocacy work in that space. So, but in my work also, I find skill gap, cultural gap, and capacity gaps that makes my work a little more challenging because it's groundbreaking here in Minnesota. So it isn't, people are not as well versed in how to do this work and what it looks like in this complexity. So that, for me, definitely is challenging and kind of knowing what the future looks like. And my hopes are not the same. Objectives are not the same as the institutions. And I'll wrap it up and say, I'm also leading my work through a lens of prosperity and, self-sufficiency, which is a different approach that happens here in Minnesota, where in the land of capital of nonprofits, it is about what everybody can do for you versus what you can do for yourself. And so that makes it more challenging because I'm fighting against trampled on self-sufficiency, people's goals and stuff trampled on, and I'm trying to inspire them to, connect to their core interests of self-sufficiency. So it's a little challenge, but yes.
Well, given your specific and unique challenges, what piece of insight would you want to share with other CEOs sharing your experience?
Yeah, I just say, stay focused, and committed, to your goals, be clear. And, of course, you have to be agile, where you have to, make changes as you need to, but, don't be afraid to stand in space of innovation. It's really important. It's lonely, but it's important, because especially when what you know, and you're passionate about it, and you understand that what you're providing is a solution, to problems, because, our products have to be solution based. And, just keep refining it as needed, but don't stop, break through the other side. It definitely happens. I've seen my first $1 million profit last year, just, staying committed through every part of it. But it definitely takes an incredible amount of commitment, leadership, strategy, right? And execution. You have to deliver and be impactful. That is a given. Is so my advice.
So, what other successful CEOs like yourself would you like to acknowledge and should be on my podcast?
Yeah, Deanna Cummings. She's a former CEO of Juxtaposition Arts. She's taken a different job now, but her husband still runs it. A youth-based cultural art organization that has really been innovative in owning commercial property and developing it in the Black community, creating space for youth entrepreneurs in the art world, which is great. Try Construction, CEO Calvin Littlejohn, they're in Minnesota here, the largest Black construction company. So there are several, but those are two of my favorite.
Very good. Well, now for the final question. How do you celebrate a win?
I'm learning. I'm taking a trip in a few weeks.
Good for
You acknowledge it. I, send out, you acknowledge it, and I share it with my base, because, I make sure that it's clear that our wins are their wins. It's shared. And that's a really important message you want to, send to your customers, to your clients, to your base, and keep them engaged around it. And, it's a shared win. So I send out, my notifications through, via my newsletter, my social media, and I highlight them as part of the success, so I don't ever take it as a Kenya deal or just the Black Women's Wealth Alliance. It is a collective, because really, if Black women didn't show up and weren't a part of what we do, then there wouldn't be a need for us to exist. So you have to always understand that it's shared. So that's how I acknowledge it.
Sure. Well, it's a pleasure having you on today, Kenya. How can people find you?
Yeah, they can go to our website, www.bwwa-us.com. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, so you can certainly find us through those means. Sign up for our newsletter to make sure you are updated when our programming starts up this spring in April.
Excellent. This is Earl Amin with the 2024 Side Podcast. For more insights, go to LinkedIn and search for The Gray Owl Company. Kenya, thank you so very much.
Thank you.